Hey guys, so today what we're going to do is just run you through what shutter speed is, how it works, what effect it has on your exposure, and then of course how you can use shutter speed to get specific effects in composition. So shutter speed is one of the three factors in exposure, and shutter speed is effectively the amount of time that your sensor remains open or receptive to light reaching it via your lens. Now, shutter speed is generally denoted by, well, these little figures over here, and they generally range from 1 to 4,000 or 1 to 8,000 on some higher end cameras. And what this effectively is a second and fraction of a second denotion of time that it'll remain open. So 1 is literally, 1 second. So your shutter will remain open for 1 second, exposing your sensor for 1 second to any light that reaches it. 2 will be half a second, 4 will be a quarter of a second, and so it'll go, up in number but down in time. So in photography, shutter speed and aperture generally have a very close relation to each other. In the sense that those two elements is generally what you'd use to control the more creative aspect within your frame and generally affect composition as well as exposure, obviously. So where shutter speed comes into play in composition is effectively in showing motion. Now, your shutter speed is the only control that you have in a still image to really convey a sense of motion in photographs, which generally is quite a static medium. So how this generally works is that, say for example, you're shooting sport or wildlife, horse racing, car racing, anything where there's very fast motion and you really want to stop that motion, freeze it in place, you'd shoot at a very fast shutter speed to really capture and freeze elements in mid-air or anything like that. So let me quickly show you what that looks like. So in that image you can really see the effect of how shutter speed freezes objects in motion. In there you can see how the water droplets were basically frozen in mid-air as they were falling. I was shooting at an shutter speed of 1/4000, and that was fast enough to really get you that frozen motion, that capture in mid-air. Now the converse is also true. If you're shooting at a much slower shutter speed, what will happen is those water droplets will all sort of blur together as it actually captures the motion of them falling. Let me show you what that looks like. So in that photo you can really see that blurred motion effect. So these sort of effects, specifically the blurred motion effect, very popular in seascape photography, where as the waves come in you can literally make it look milky. The same is true when you're shooting a waterfall, anything like that. If you're shooting panning shots, so like cars driving by, athletes running past, anything where you want to convey that sense of motion. So a popular technique in panning would be where you have it set to a slower shutter speed, and literally as you shoot and your shutter remains open, you follow your subject matter. So the effect that'll give you is of your subject matter being fairly sharp, but the whole background being blurred and showing that motion. And really in photography, that is, as I said previously, the only real way to show movement and reflect that on quite a static medium. So that just about wraps up this little video on shutter speed and the effect that it has on your exposure and general composition within your frame. If you enjoyed that video, drop us a like and comment if there's anything that you'd like to know. And as always, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you very much.